Statistics show that 74% of people are unhappy in their careers. Now, I have two responses to that. First, happiness is a mindset, not a circumstance. And two, life is too short to not love what you do. Now, most people I meet who get into real estate, they do so because they love the idea of owning their own business, working from home, calling their own shots, and having a path to becoming wealthy. But to really live your best life, there are some things you need to know in order to decide if real estate is the right path for you. So before you quit your job to wholesale or flip real estate full-time, watch this video. I've narrowed it down to 5 things you need to know. But first, if you don't know me, I'm Jerry Norton. I make millions of dollars a year wholesaling and flipping houses. And here on my YouTube channel, I show you how to do the same. So if you want to be a flipping genius like me and live your dream life, subscribe to my channel and watch my videos. Now let me take a minute and share with you my journey to becoming a full-time real estate investor and flipper nearly 20 years ago now. When I started, I was 27 years old. I was married with a few kids, and I worked in utility construction as a laborer. I basically dug holes for minimum wage, and I felt like I was going nowhere in my life. Then I got bit by the real estate bug. You know, where you know it's your ticket to a better life, and you become obsessed with it. It's all I could think about, so I began learning as much as I could about wholesaling houses and real estate investing. Well, I had one small problem. That darn job kept getting in the way. I did my best part-timing it before and after work and on the weekends, and eventually I did my first wholesale deal and made $6,000. I'll never forget that feeling when I did my first deal. It was exhilarating because I proved to myself that I could do it. But that wasn't my turning point. You see, I wanted to know that I could do it again, and not just do it again, but that I could make a living doing it, that I could support my family, and that I was on a legitimate path to real financial freedom. Now, I've since learned that anybody can do a deal, and if you haven't done your first deal, wait until you experience that. But even better is learning how to do it consistently again and again. So for me, the day I decided to quit my job, cut the apron strings of what I thought was security and wholesale houses full-time, that was truly transformational and the real turning point in my life. And once I went from dabbler to full-timer, everything changed. I'm not saying this will happen to you, but here's what happened to me. When I transitioned to full-time wholesaling and was able to put all of my energy and attention into my real estate business, it was like throwing gasoline on fire. I went from doing a deal here and there part-time to doing 6 wholesale deals and making $52,000 in my first month full-time. That was more money than I'd seen in a lifetime. I couldn't believe how much more I was able to do when I could really go after it with everything I had. Now, after that, I continued doing deals every month, and I also started fixing and flipping houses, and I was able to become a millionaire by the age of 30, and I haven't looked back since. But I encountered several obstacles and challenges that I did not anticipate that I want to share with you on this video. Like I said, that was nearly 20 years ago when I quit my job and went all in full time. I started teaching people how to wholesale and flip real estate about 15 years ago, and now after working with thousands of individuals from all over the world, I've seen firsthand that for some people, quitting their job and doing real estate full-time was in fact the best decision. I've also seen firsthand that for some people, quitting their job and doing real estate full-time was the wrong decision. So before you fire your boss, there are 5 things you need to know about becoming a full-time real estate investor and flipper. First, don't just do it for the money. So many people want to wholesale and flip houses for the money. And while it's true that you can make a lot of money, especially if you get good at it, you should never do anything just for the money. It's not sustainable. Do work that you find rewarding. For me, I live and breathe real estate. I love the deal-making process of wholesaling, and I also love the transformation process of fix and flip. It never gets old for me. It's like I tell my kids, you are going to spend the majority of your adult life working, and you won't be happy if you're not doing work you love, no matter how much money you make, because if you love what you do, it won't feel like work. You'll wake up excited to make a meaningful contribution in the world. Now, you don't always know until you give it a sincere effort, but that's my point. Always challenge your self-deception and be willing to self-confront. Why we do anything is always more important than what we do. Let me ask you, setting aside the financial aspect, are you absolutely in love with real estate? Could you see yourself doing it for the rest of your life? What about it do you love? Leave a comment and let me know. The second thing that you need to know before you quit your job and do real estate full-time is it won't work if you have a plan B. This may go against what your parents taught you. Our society teaches to play life safe, to always have a plan B to fall back on in case things don't work out. The problem with having a plan B is it's an easy way out when it gets hard. When you have a plan B, it's very tempting to not fully commit, and you can't be successful in real estate unless you're willing to stick through the challenges and obstacles. I love the story of Hernando Cortez when he landed in Mexico in 1519 to conquer the Aztec treasure. He commanded his men to burn the ships in the harbor. He told them, "We're going home victors or not at all." Now, if you know that you have a ship in the harbor, you can retreat if it gets too hard. Then human nature kicks in and you'll instinctively head for the ship so that you can escape. It's the path of least resistance. Now, when I started in real estate, I ran into so many setbacks, but I never had a backup plan. I was either gonna make it or die trying. Now, if you're not ready or willing to burn the ships in the harbor, you're not ready for full-time real estate. The third thing you need to know before you quit your job and do real estate full-time is to be prepared for inconsistent income. Wholesaling and flipping houses can be extremely lucrative, but it is transactional, which means you only make money when you do a deal. I tell my mentoring students that every time you wholesale or flip a house, you're out of business because the only way to make money again is to do another deal. Now, obviously, the goal is to consistently flip houses every month, but every wholesaler and flipper will tell you that there are times when you don't have any deals. Sometimes, especially in the beginning, it can be feast or famine. So being prepared to weather the dry spells is important. I remember a time when my wife called me to ask if she could go to Costco to buy food for my little family. I had overextended myself on deals, and it was gut-wrenching to ask her to wait another week until after a wholesale deal funded. For a lot of people, not having a consistent paycheck is too stressful. I have a friend who averaged $250,000 a year flipping houses, but ended up quitting and going back to his $100,000 a year salary job because he couldn't handle the inconsistent paydays from flipping houses. He'd rather earn way less and get a paycheck every Friday than make more than double but have the stress of the roller coaster income. So what about you? Do you have what it takes to not have a consistent paycheck? Leave a comment and let me know. The fourth thing that you need to know before you quit your job to do real estate full time is you will have to be able to embrace change. In real estate, the market is always going up and down and changing, and opportunities are always coming and going. In fact, the only thing consistent about real estate is that it always changes. The most successful investors I know adapt quickly with the market. If you don't enjoy learning new things constantly, and if you hate the idea of finding something that works only for that something to stop working at some point, then full-time real estate is not for you. But if you love constantly learning and evolving and reinventing yourself, you might be ready for full-time real estate. One thing I talk often about is that successfully wholesaling and flipping houses is not just about houses. It's about building a system. In fact, if you don't treat it like a business, it will be nothing more than a job. The only way to gain true financial freedom is to have time freedom. That means you need to build a model that continually makes money and eventually does it without you even being there. I recently got back from a 10-day trip to Italy with my wife. During that trip, I completely disconnected from work. I didn't even think about work. I just focused on that special time with my wife of 24 years. By the way, isn't she the most gorgeous, beautiful woman you have ever seen? I ask myself every day, how could a guy like me land such a spectacular, amazing, and sexy woman? Anyways, the cool thing is my real estate business still bought and sold several houses while we were in Italy because I've built a business that is sustainable without me being in the trenches for it to function successfully. Now, if you don't enjoy training and motivating people and building a team and developing processes and systems, then you'll struggle as a full-time wholesaler or flipper. I believe this is so critical that I took my nearly 20 years of experience flipping thousands of deals and invested hundreds of thousands of dollars and built an all-inclusive platform that organizes, streamlines, and automates all of the steps to wholesaling and flipping houses. It's called Flipster, and if you're considering wholesaling or flipping houses full-time, you owe it to yourself to check it out. It's life-changing. To test drive it for free, just go to joinflipster.com. Okay, the fifth thing that you need to know before you quit your job to do real estate full-time is to start with and become proficient at wholesaling houses, no matter what you eventually end up doing. Let me explain. Whether you want to become a fix and flipper or a buy and hold investor, do creative financing, multifamily, or commercial, whatever specialty real estate niche you want to do, always know how to wholesale. The reason why I believe so strongly that every real estate investor should learn and know how to wholesale is because you can wholesale yourself out of any financial problem, because if you know how, wholesaling is quick and it's immediate. I remember a time when I had 12 fix and flip projects going on at the same time in Metro Detroit where I started. I had borrowed money to get into all those deals, and I didn't plan well enough, and the monthly cash needed to service the payments each month caught up to me. I realized I was going to run out of cash and not be able to make my loan payments the following month. So what did I do? I stopped everything and I spent an entire week hyper-focusing on wholesaling and was able to find and secure and assign several properties that funded before the end of the month. I was able to use that wholesale income to sustain myself until some of those fix and flip deals sold and funded. Knowing how to wholesale bailed me out, and no matter what I end up doing in real estate, wholesaling is and will always be the foundation to my business and success. Now, I personally have a unique perspective on wholesaling that has served me well. I refer to my wholesale income as my pay bills money, meaning I use my wholesale income to fund my lifestyle. Then all my other real estate investing endeavors, I treat as my get rich money, meaning I don't need it or rely on it so I can reinvest it to grow my net worth exponentially. I like to use grades in high school as an analogy to progressing in real estate. Freshman is wholesaling, sophomore is fix and flip, junior is buy and hold, and senior is development or commercial. And I get a lot of heat for saying that, and it's fine if you disagree, but I firmly believe that wholesaling teaches you so many fundamentals that will serve you well from now on. Now, finally, I want you to watch a video where I break down 5 different methods I'm following right now to do 10 times more deals this year. So watch that now, and if you haven't yet, be sure to subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you on the next video.